This is Swati, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Dundigal. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we'll be discussing about the design and operation of ring counter and twisted ring counter. So what is a ring counter and twisted ring counter? How to design this, and we'll see the operation of that ring counter and twisted ring counter, and also the major applications of the shift register. Those are, the shift register can be used in designing, that means it can be used as counter, and the major application here is we can use the shift register in the designing of ring counter and shifted ring counter. So that means shift register can be used as a counter. Majorly the two types of counters that we can design using shift register are ring counter and twisted ring counter. So now let us see the ring counter. So ring counter is a special type of application of the serial in, serial out shift register. So already we know that shift register can be operated in various modes like serial in, serial out mode, and serial in, parallel out, and serial in, serial out, and parallel in, parallel out, and also we can have bidirectional shift register and universal shift register. So the mode of operation, that is serial in, serial out, of a shift register can be used in the design of ring counter. That means we can say that the ring counter is a special type of application of shift register in, serial out mode. So here, what is the difference between then the shift register and the ring counter? So in shift register, in a serial in, serial out shift register, we are going to take the output from the last flip-flop, whereas in ring counter, the output is again passed as input to the first flip-flop. So that means we are giving a feedback from last flip-flop to the first flip-flop in ring counter. So other than this, everything that is a structural, there is no difference in the structure of the shift register and serial in, serial out mode and ring counter. Only the difference is in the shift register, when it is operating in, serial out mode, the output is taken from the last flip-flop, whereas in the ring counter, the output is again fed back to the input of the first flip-flop. So here we can have a ring counter of any size. For example, we are designing a 4-bit ring counter. We'll be using 4 flip-flops. We'll be using 4 flip-flops. So if you are designing an 8-bit ring counter, we have to use 8 flip-flops. So here, as I'm using 4 flip-flops here, so the number of states that I can, first of all, what do you mean by counter? Counter is a sequential circuit which can count number of pulses, clock pulses, or else which can count number of events that can occur in a circuit. So here, with the help of, that means if we have an n-bit counter, we are able to count 2 parent pulses. Now here, in a ring counter, we can also design a ring counter of any size. Depending on the size of the, depending on the pulses required to be counted, we need to take that many number of flip-flops. So here, the number of states in a ring counter can be equal to the number of flip-flops used. That means if I'm using 4 flip-flops in a ring counter, I can count only 4 pulses. Whereas if it is a binary counter, so if a binary counter is having or is designed using 4 flip-flops, so I can count totally 2 par 4, that is 16 pulses. Whereas in the ring counter, the number of states that can be counted, or is the number of states that a ring counter can undergo, is equals to the number of flip-flops used. That means if I use 4 flip-flops, the number of states that a ring counter can come across is equals to 4. Whereas a binary counter can go, or else can have 2 parent 2 power n states in the counter. That means it can count 2 power n pulses, whereas the ring counter can count only n pulses, where n is the number of flip-flops used here. So here, now let us see the block diagram of 4-bit ring counter, where we are using 4 flip-flops. So in general, the designing of counters, we always prefer D flip-flop, which is a data flip-flop. So we all know that operation of D flip-flop. So whatever the data we will give, the state of the flip-flop will be equal to that data. If the data is 0, the next state is 0. If the data is 1, the next state of the D flip-flop is 1. So that is a basic operation of D flip-flop. So here now, here we are looking at the block diagram of ring counter, which is a 4-bit ring counter in which I am using 4 flip-flops, and the flip-flops are of type D. So that is, we are using 4 D-type flip-flops here. And if you observe look at the circuit, so all the flip-flops are applied with the same clock pulse. All the flip-flops are applied with same clock pulse. So and hence this circuit is said to be a synchronous counter. That means all the flip-flops are operating on the same clock, and hence this counter is an example of synchronous counter, where in the synchronous counter all the flip-flops operate with the same clock. So we are applying all the flip-flops with the same clock. And here, other than that, we have another input to all the flip-flops. So if you look at the structure of this one, the output of the first flip-flop is given as input to the second, and the second flip-flop output is given as the input to the third flip-flop, and the third flip-flop output is given as input to the fourth flip-flop. And as I said you that, so in shift register we will be taking the output from the last flip-flop, whereas in ring counter the output of the last flip-flop is again given as feedback to the first flip-flop. So this is the connection, feedback connection, which is provided from last flip-flop output to the first flip-flop input. So this is the connection, and all the flip-flops are, if you can observe here, all the flip-flops are applied with same clock. And one more thing, you can also observe another input, that is ORI, which is represented as a ORI. ORI stands for overriding input. So what do you mean by overriding input? So this overriding input may be either preset or clear. Why we are calling these two inputs as ORI? Because if the preset input is high, then what happens? Whatever it may be the state of that flip-flop, it sets the flip-flop to state 1. If the clear input is 1, then what it makes? It overrides the flip-flop state with 0. So that means whatever it may be the present state of the flip-flop, if preset input or clear input is 1, then it overrides the state of the flip-flop as either 1 or 0. So that is why we can call this preset and clear input as overriding input. So that means whatever it may be the present state, if the preset input is 1, it sets the flip-flop to 1. If the clear input is 1, it resets the flip-flop to 0. So that means it overrides the state of the flip-flop. So that is why we are calling these two inputs as overriding inputs. So here, that means we can understand that overriding inputs are is used to design the circuit where it is required to clear and preset the circuit. So here let us see. Here we are applying overriding inputs to all the flip-flops. So the overriding input is taken as preset input to the first flip-flop, whereas to the remaining all the flip-flops, it is taken as clear input. If you observe this is CLR, which stands for clear, whereas PR stands for preset. That means we are taking ORI, that is overriding input, and it is applied as the preset input to the first flip-flop and clear input to the next 3 flip-flops here. So what it makes here, and if you observe all these are the active low inputs. Active low inputs means if it is considered to be 0, then it will, if ORI input is 0, then only the first flip-flop which is in which we have considered the ORI input as preset, which sets the flip-flop to 1. And to the remaining 3 flip-flops, it is considered as clear input. So if ORI input is 0, as these are all active low inputs, so as this is 0, then only it considers that the clear input is high, and hence all the flip-flops will be reset or else clear. So that means if preset is 0, Q is 1. This is for the first flip-flop. And the next case, if clear is 0, Q is equals to 0. That is what the meaning of preset and reset. Preset and clear. So means what? If ORI input is considered as 0, then the preset input is applied to the first flip-flop and its output is considered to be 1. If clear, as these are active low, we have to ensure that ORI is equals to 0 makes the flip-flop either clear or set to 1. So these two values are always fixed and independent. These are all, these two values, that means preset and clear, are independent of data and clock input. So what we are saying, it is independent of data input and these are all fixed now. So before, if you want to clear the flip-flop, then make the ORI 0. If you clear or set the flip-flop, then make the ORI 0. If you want to make the flip-flop to operate in its normal mode, then make the ORI input to 1. So that is why we are saying that these two are always fixed, independent. It is not depending on data and clock pulse. Now, let us see the operation of this ring counter here. So what happens when the ORI input is 0? So this is applied as preset input to the first flip-flop, which sets the flip-flop. In that case, Q0 will be considered as 1 because it is applied as preset input. Now, as this is applied as clear input to the remaining 3 flip-flops, the outputs of all these 3 flip-flops will be considered as 0. So now, so here, whenever this is applied, now it is independent of clock. So whatever it may be the clock value, either it is 0 or 1. So when the preset or clear inputs are 0, then it sets or resets the flip-flop. Now, in order to make the flip-flop to operate with respect to clock, we need to make it 1. Now, what happens if I make it 1? So already 1 is stored in the flip-flop, first flip-flop, and 0, 0, 0 is stored in the next 3 flip-flops. Now I made ORI as 1. So as ORI is 1, now this becomes 0. Now it depends, it works depending on the clock signal applied. So during the clock, as it is serial in, serial out shift register. So what happens? The data will be shifted in the flip-flops. Okay. So now here, now during the first clock pulse, what happens? As we have a feedback here from last flip-flop to the first flip-flop. So this 0 will come and applied here. And whatever the input, first let us talk about the inputs here. This input is given as, this 1 is given as input to this one. This 0 is given as input to this one. And this 0 is given as input to this one. Once it is done, now what about the output here? Now this will be 0 and the output of this one will be 1. This one will be 0 and this one will be 0. So during the first clock pulse, the data that was stored in the D flip-flop, first D flip-flop, as it was preset, so it was 1. So that will be pushed into the second flip-flop, and the data stored in the second flip-flop will be pushed into the third flip-flop. Now the output of third flip-flop is 0 and the fourth flip-flop is again 0. Now again this 0 is, so during the next clock pulse, this 0 will be pushed here. So already we have 0 here. Now this 0 and this one now will be pushed here, and we have 0 here, this will be pushed. So that means during every clock pulse, the data will be shifted 1 bit to the right side. So now, so what is happening when the clear and PR inputs are active low? So the output is 1 when the preset is 0 and the output is 0 when the clear set to 0. Now, when the ORI input is passed to the preset input of the first flip-flop as I discussed now. So first flip-flop, that is flip-flop 0, and it is also passed to the clear input of the remaining 3 flip-flops, that is flip-flop 1, 2 and 3. So if you look at this, flip-flop 0 is applied, that means the ORI input is applied as preset input to the flip-flop 0, and it is applied as clear input to the flip-flop 1, 2 and 3. So and hence what happens, the outputs of the flip-flops, that means the output of the first flip-flop will be set to 1 and the remaining 3 flip-flops will be set to 0. So when the ORI input is set to high, now what happens? And the low clock pulse signal is passed as a negative clock edge triggered. So here, now if you observe this this clock signal, so we are applying this clock. Whenever this becomes 1, so what happens? Now the operation of this circuit depends mainly on the clock signal. So that is the meaning here. So now what happens? So here, what happens when a clock signal is applied, a ring-like structure is formed because of the feedback given from the last flip-flop to the input of the first flip-flop. And so that it can count 4 pulses here. Now let us see the truth table of that. So initially, when the ORI input is low, irrespective of the clock, so what was the output of the first flip-flop? That is 1. And the remaining 3 flip-flops were 0. Now we made ORI input as high, means what? We have applied this ORI input as we have applied ORI input as 1. Initially, as it is active low, we have considered ORI as 0. So irrespective of the clock, as ORI is applied as a preset input to the first flip-flop, it sets the flip-flop 1. So and hence Q0 is equals to 1. Whereas this ORI input is applied as clear input to the flip-flop 1, 2 and 3. This resets the 3 flip-flops and hence Q1 is equals to 0, Q2 is equals to 0 and Q3 is equals to 0. Now let us make the ORI input as high, that means 1. Now it depends on the clock signal. Now if it is the clock signal, now I am considering that all these flip-flops are negative edge triggered flip-flops. Negative edge triggered flip-flops means when there is a transition. So here this is a clock signal. So when there is a transition in the clock from 0 to 1, this is 0 and this is 1. When there is a transition from 0 to 1 in the clock, that means during the negative edge of the clock, if there is any change in the input, then the output of the flip-flop will change. So I am considering all the flip-flops are negative edge triggered flip-flops. So now I am applying clock signal as low. So that means we have a transition from low, high to low. That means 1 to 0. Now what happens? So as we are providing a feedback from output to the input, so this one will now pushed here, whereas this one will be, this 0, the output of the last flip-flop is pushed here, and this one will be pushed to the next flip-flop. So this is 0 now, whereas this one will be pushed here, and this 0 will be pushed here, and this 0 will be pushed here. Now again we are giving the, so this is during the first clock pulse. This is at the 0th pulse. This is at the 0th pulse, and this is at the first clock pulse, that is the first negative edge of the clock. And now during the second clock pulse, what happens? During the second clock pulse, so now again this 0 will be pushed here. So 0, this is 0. Now whatever the data stored in that will be pushed to the next flip-flop, and this will be pushed here, and this will be pushed here. So that is 0. That means in the second pulse, the data stored in that flip-flops, group of flip-flops is 0, 0, 1, 0. Now again during the third pulse, what happens? Again this is applied, this is moved to the first flip-flop. So now this data will be pushed here, and now this will be pushed here, this will be pushed here, and this will be pushed here. And then next, during the next clock pulse, so what happens? Again this will be coming back. So 1, and this is 0, and this is 0, and this is 0. So that means, so here again after the 4 clock pulses, what is happening? So again it is reaching its initial state. What was the initial state? 1000. So that is why here we can say that using this ring counter, where we have provided a feedback from output of the last flip-flop to the input of the first flip-flop. So we are only able to count 4 pulses. That means the counter can undergo only 4 states. Those are from 1000 to 0001. So once it is done, again for the next clock pulse, again the same sequence repeats here. So that is why it is able to count only 4 clock pulses. So that is why we can say that the number of states that a ring counter can undergo is equals to the number of flip-flops. How many flip-flops we have used? 4 flip-flops. So how many states that a ring counter can undergo? 4 states. That is 1002, 0001. So it can undergo 4 states, and hence we can say that this can count only 4 clock pulses, even though I am using 4 flip-flops. As if it is a binary counter, it has to count 16 pulses, but it is counting only 4 pulses. So this is the major drawback of ring counter. That is, it can count only 4. That means the number of states that a ring counter can count is equals to the number of flip-flops. Whereas, so as we are using 4 flip-flops here, so how many pulses I can count? Basically, I can count 2 power 4, that is 16. So that means among that 16 states, only I am able to use 4 states. That means 4 states are utilized, and the remaining 4 states are utilized, and the remaining 12 states are not utilized. Remaining 12 states are unutilized. So this is the major drawback of this. This is the major drawback of ring counter. So now let us see the timing diagram of this ring counter. So we can also call this ring counter as one-hot counter also, because it is able to count only 4 pulses. So now the timing diagram, let us see. That means let me explain the operation of this ring counter with the help of timing waveforms. So let us consider this is my clock. Okay, so this is my clock here. Now initially I am considering ORI as 0. This is low, and then this is high. So when it is low, what happens? So the last flip-flop is set, that is Q3 is 1 and the remaining all are 0. Q3 is 1 and the remaining all are zeros. So now what I am doing, I am making ORI as high. When ORI is high, if it is a positive edge triggered flip-flop, then what happens here? The last flip-flop will be changed to 0. Because we have a feedback, that means the first flip-flop will be changed to 0 because we have a feedback from last flip-flop to the first flip-flop. What is the output of this one? That is 1. And now here it will be pushed to 0. So this is the output of, so 1 0 0 0. Now during the next clock pulse, so what happens? So as it is 0 here, so during the next clock pulse, this will be pushed here, and this data will be pushed to here, and this will be pushed here. So that means Q1 becomes 1 now, and Q2 remains in the same state. So Q0 is 1. So when we have changed our ORI to 1, so it will become 1, and the remaining all that means initially when the ORI, overriding input, was low, so first flip-flop was set and the remaining all the flip-flops were reset. So that is what happened here. Now during the next clock pulse, so what happens? This will be pushed here. So now what happens? This data will be pushed to the first flip-flop. So that is why it becomes 0, whereas the Q1 becomes 1 and Q0 remains 0 and Q2 remains 0 and Q3 remains 0. And during the next clock pulse, that is the third clock pulse, so what happens? This now becomes 0. So it is 0. Already it was 0. And now this will be pushed to the next flip-flop. And hence Q2 is 1 now. So now Q3 remains 0. Now during the next clock pulse, it remains 0 and it will also remain 0. Now as it is 1, now this data will be pushed here. So now it becomes 0, whereas this data will be pushed to the next flip-flop. So it becomes 1. And during the next clock pulse, again the same sequence repeats. That means 1, 0, 0. So this is a timing diagram. So that is how we can explain the operation of ring counter using timing diagram. So that is what about the ring counter. So what we can understand from the ring counter, we have disadvantage, that is even though we are using 4 flip-flops, we can count only 4 states, or else we can have only 4 states here in the ring counter even though we are using 4 flip-flops. So instead of having 16 states, we can have only 4 states where the remaining 12 states are unutilized. So that was the major drawback of ring counter. So now we are going for the next counter, that is Johnson ring counter. We can also call this as twisted ring counter, or else switch tail ring counter. So Johnson ring counter is also called as twisted ring counter or else switch tail ring counter. So this is also similar to the ring counter. Only the difference is what we have done in the ring counter, the output of the last flip-flop is connected as input to the first flip-flop. Okay, but here the complemented output of the last flip-flop is passed as the input to the first flip-flop, where we have connected Q output of last flip-flop to the input of first flip-flop. But in this Johnson counter or else twisted ring counter, the complemented output of the last flip-flop is connected as input to the first flip-flop. That is why we can also call it as twisted ring counter. Switch tail ring counter. So here in Johnson counter, so what is the advantage of Johnson ring counter? What happens if I connect Q bar as input to the first flip-flop? That is Q bar of the last flip-flop is connected as input to the first flip-flop. What is the advantage here? So the major drawback that we have observed in the ring counter was it can count only 4 pulses. Now here in Johnson counter, the number of states in Johnson counter is equals to the number of flip-flops used. Number of possible states here. Number of possible states number of possible state is equals to the number of flip-flops. So that means, and in that we can use 2 into n states, whereas unused states are 2 power n minus, sorry, it is not 2n, it is 2 power n. 2 power n minus 2 into n. So it is 2 into n. So that means, for example, let us consider we have designed a 4-bit Johnson ring counter. 4-bit Johnson ring counter. So that means how many flip-flops I have to use? I have to use 4 flip-flops. As I am using 4 flip-flops, what are the possible states I can have? I can have possible states I can have is 2 power 4, that is 16 states. In that 16 states, I can use 2 into 4, that is 8 states are utilized, whereas the remaining, that is 16 minus 8, that is 8, remaining 8 states are unused. Remaining 8 states are unused. So whereas in the case of ring counter, we have used only n states. The remaining 2 power n minus n, that is 12 states were wasted here. But here we have reduced the number of states that are unused to 8. So that is the major advantage of Johnson ring counter over ring counter. So I hope it is clear. So the possible number of states with a Johnson counter is 2 power n, whereas in that we can utilize only 2 into n states, whereas the remaining states are said to be unused. The unused number of states can be given by 2 power n minus 2 into n. If it is a 4-bit counter, 8 states are utilized and 8 states are unutilized. So here, this is the structure of or else logic circuit of Johnson ring counter. So again, I am using D flip-flops here. So I want to design a 4-bit Johnson ring counter. So which is also called as twisted ring counter. So I'm using 4 D flip-flops here. So again, the output of first flip-flop is given as input to the second, and the second flip-flop output is given as the input to the third flip-flop, and the third flip-flop is output is given as input to the fourth flip-flop. Whereas the complemented output of last flip-flop is given as input to the first flip-flop. That is the major difference, where we have connected Q to input of the first flip-flop, Q4 to the input of the first flip-flop in ring counter. So now, and similarly, all these 4 flip-flops are operating with the same clock, and hence this is also said to be a synchronous counter. That means all the flip-flops are working on the same clock, and hence it is called as a synchronous counter. And we don't have any preset input here. We are just applying the clear input as clear. We are applying a clear input to all the flip-flops here. If the clear, and this is an active low input. If the clear input is 0, what it makes? It clears all the flip-flops. That means initially all the flip-flops are cleared. That means all are said to be, the outputs of all the flip-flops are said to be 0. Okay, so here now, okay, so now here, this is, actually this is, okay. So now this is the Johnson ring counter structure. So where we can find the complemented output of last flip-flop is given as input to the first flip-flop. Input to the first flip-flop. And let us consider all these flip-flops are negative edge triggered. All these flip-flops are negative edge triggered. Whereas all these are clear input is active high input. Active, let us consider the clear input as active high, not active low. So that means if the clear input is 1, then all the flip-flops will be cleared off. When the clear input is 0, then the operation of this circuit will depend on the clock pulse, and we are considering all the flip-flops as negative edge triggered flip-flop. That means during the falling edge of the clock, the state of the flip-flop will be changing. Every falling edge of the clock, the state of the counter will be changing here. So this is about the circuit. Now let us analyze the circuit here. Now first, initially when I make clock as 1, so which is applied, clear input as 1, which clears all the flip-flops irrespective of the clock signal. So that I have shown in the first row of the truth table here. Here the clear input is high. Okay, clear input is high, and hence all the irrespective of the clock, so the output is said to be 0. Output of all the flip-flops is 0 because the clear input is high. Now let us consider this as this clear input is 0. Once the clear input is made 0, now it depends on the clock signal. Now what I am doing, I am making the clear input as 0. Now during the first clock pulse, now what happens, as I am providing, so as the output of Q4 is 0, now what happens to the Q4 complement? It is 1. Now it is applied as, so in order to set the first flip-flop, I am not applying any external input. I am not applying any preset input here. Only with respect to the feedback provided, it generates, it will be, the state of the counter will be changing here. Whereas in the ring counter, first flip-flop was preset before the clock pulses are applied. But here, there is no preset input. We are commonly applying the clear input to all the flip-flops, which clears all the flip-flops. So initially, all the flip-flops were cleared, and hence the output was 0, 0, 0, 0. Now I made clear input as 0. Now during the first clock pulse, the output of, complemented output of this last flip-flop is applied as input to the first flip-flop. Now thus this output becomes 1, whereas this will be pushed here 0, and this will be pushed here 0, and this will be 0 here. Now again the clock, so that means during the first clock pulse, the data stored, or else the state of this ring counter will change to 1, 0, 0, 0. Why it is 1? Because the complemented output of last flip-flop is pushed here into the first flip-flop, and hence Q1 now becomes 1 and the remaining all the 3 are zeros. Now during the next clock pulse, that means during the next negative edge of the clock. So now what happens? Again we have 1 here because the output of the last flip-flop is 0. Now it is 1. Now again it is pushed to the first flip-flop. That means this will be pushed here, where not this one, the complement of this one is pushed here. That means this will be 1 again, and this one is pushed here, and this 0 is pushed here, and this 0 is pushed here. That means during the second clock pulse. So what is that? What is the state we have here? What is the state of the ring Johnson ring counter? 1 1 0 0. Next, during the next clock pulse, so what happens? Again, this will be complemented and applied here. So what is the complement of this one? 0 complement is 1. So 1 is pushed here, whereas this one is pushed, this one is pushed, and this is 0. So that means the next word is 1 1 1 1 0. And next, again, the complement of this one. What is the complement of this one? 0 complement is 1. That is pushed here. So 1. And this one will be pushed, and this one. So that means this one will be pushed to the next flip-flop, and this is pushed to the next flip-flop, and this is pushed to the next flip-flop. Now, what is the complement of 1 here? 0. So now 0 will be pushed here. That means 0 is coming to the first flip-flop, and whereas 1 already stored in the first flip-flop will be pushed now here, this one. So now again 1 complement, 0. So 0 0 1 1. Again 1 complement, 0 0 1. And again 1 complement, 0. So that is 0 0 0. So totally how many states that it has undergone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means after all the 8 pulses, it is again coming back to the virginal state, that is all 0 state. So that means what we can say here, it is undergoing 8 states, or else we can also say that it is counting 8 pulses. For every clock pulse, it is changing its state. So how many states it is undergoing? It is undergoing 8 states. That means we can say that a Johnson ring counter, now 4-bit Johnson ring counter, can undergo a states of 2 into 4, which is equals to 8. If we are designing a 5-bit Johnson counter, then it will undergo 2 into 5, that is 10 states. So this is about Johnson ring counter. Now let us try to draw the timing diagram for this one. I hope it is clear to everyone. So now let us take first clear input. So we are taking the clear input. So as I have taken clear input as active high. So when the clear input is 1, so then it clears all the flip-flops. So now what I am doing here is I am taking the clear input as 1 initially. This is my clear input. So this is 1 here. Now whatever and after this I am making it as 0. Now let us take my clock. Let us take my clock as initially it is 0. Now it is becoming 1. Now again 0. Now again 1. Actually this on and off period must be same. We just draw neatly. So this is my clock input. This is my clock input and this is my clear input. Now let us take the Q0, Q1 first. What we have actually Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So let us take Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So now initially when the clear input was 1, so all the outputs of Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4 were zeros. When it is becoming 1, Now, as we have considered, it is a negative edge triggered flip-flop. So here we have to consider all the negative edges. These are the negative edges. So up to this negative edge, it will continue its state in 0. So whenever the clock becomes 1 to 0, then the change happens. So even though the clear input has 1 here, clear input is 0 here, as the clock is 1, so it will never change its state. It remains in the same state till the first positive edge. Now during the positive edge, what is happening here? This Q4, as it is 0 now, so all zeros, this 0 and complemented and will be given as input to the first flip-flop, and hence it will now become 1. It will now become 1. So whereas the remaining 3 remains in the same state. So up to the next negative edge of the clock. So this is happening here. So during the negative edge of the clock, so again what happens? So this 0 will be complemented and applied to the next flip-flop, and it will be 1, whereas this one will be pushed here. Now it changes its state to 1. Now it changes its states to 1, whereas these two remains in the 0 state only. 0 state. So that means during the first clock pulse, that means initially the state of the flip-flop, the state of the counter was 0, 0. During the first clock pulse, it has changed its states to 1, 0, 0. During the second clock pulse, it has changed its states to 1, 1, 0, 0. Now during the third clock pulse, it remains 1 because this is complemented and it is given here. And now this one will be pushed here. So now it is 1 and this one will be pushed here. This one will be pushed here and this one. Now this becomes 1. Whereas this remains in the 0 state. Now during the third clock pulse, so this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and so on. So now what happens during this? Now again this is complemented and given as input. So now again it remains in the 1 state. Now this one will be pushed here and this one will be pushed here. Now this becomes 1 here. So now what is the word stored in this one? In the fourth clock pulse, the state of the ring counter is 4 ones. Now this is 1 now. So now what happens? It is complemented and it is given to this. So it becomes now 0. Whereas this one is pushed here. So it remains 1. Whereas this remains 1 and this remains 1. And this thing now let us consider for 8 pulses here. Okay. So let us consider this is the 7th one, this is 8th and this is 9th. Now what happens? Now let us consider this negative edge of the clock. Negative edge of the clock here. So now what happens? This is 0. Now again this is 1 and it is complemented and pushed here. So now it remains 0. Whereas this is 0, right? Now it will be changed to 0. So now in the 5th clock pulse, the state of the counter was 0, 1, 1, 1. Now it remains, this one will be pushed here. So this is 1 and this remains 1. Now during the next clock pulse, so what happens? This one is complemented and again pushed here. So it remains in the 0 state. Whereas this is 0. So it will be coming here. It is 0. Whereas this is 0. Now it will change its state to 0. It will change its state to 0 and it remains in the same state, which is 1. Now during the 7th clock pulse, what is the state of this one? 0, 0, 0, 1. Now during the 8th clock pulse, so what happens? This is complemented and given as input here. So that means the output of the first flip-flop will be again 0 and this is pushed here. So which is 0 and this is 0 and now this 0 is pushed here. So this becomes 0 here. So now this becomes 0. So now what is the state of this one? This is 0, 0, 0, whereas this one was 0, 0, 0. That means after 8 pulses, again the ring counter is going back to its original state, that is all 0 state. So that means it is counting only 8 pulses, or else we can, in other way we can say that using the Johnson ring counter can undergo 8 states, where we have used 4 4 flip-flops, and hence we can that means the Johnson ring counter can undergo 2 into 4, that is 8 states. So this is about Johnson ring counter. So now coming to the advantages of Johnson ring counter and disadvantages here. Coming to the advantages, so when compared to the ring counter can count only 4 pulses, or else it can undergo only 4 states, whereas the Johnson counter can count twice the number of states of ring counter. That means the number of states possible in Johnson ring counter is twice the number of states of a ring counter. That is the advantage here. And next one, the Johnson counter can also be designed using JK flip-flop also. Even we can design using JK flip-flop. And the data is count in a continuous loop in the Johnson ring counter. We are not applying any external data. In a continuous loop, that data is counted in Johnson ring counter. Whereas in ring counter, we were providing the preset input in order to preset the first flip-flop to 1, where we don't have any extra external input to the Johnson ring counter. With the help of continuous loop, it can change its state. Now, the circuit of Johnson counter is self-decoding, and hence we can say that, so as we are providing a continuous loop without any external input, it can change its state. So that is why it is called as self-decoding counter. Coming to the drawbacks here. So the major drawback is the Johnson counter is not able to count all the states of 4-bit binary sequence, as we are using actually 4 flip-flops. So how many states that we can count? Basically 2 power 4, 16. But here using Johnson counter, how many states we are able to count? That is 8. So that is the major drawback here. It cannot be used to count all the states in a binary sequence. So even if you observe the sequence of counts here, 100, 110, 1110. So even the states are not in a binary sequence. So that is the major drawback. It is randomly we are getting the states of the Johnson counter. So that is a drawback of Johnson ring counter. That means the Johnson counter is not able to count the states in a binary sequence. And also the one more drawback of Johnson ring counter is the unutilized states are greater than the states being utilized. So this is what that means. Even we have 8 states counted, but we cannot count all the states. So that is a major drawback of Johnson ring counter. That means when compared to the ring counter, the states that can be counted are increased, but it is not utilizing all the states. That is a major drawback of Johnson ring counter. So I hope it is clear to everyone. In this lecture, we have discussed about the major applications of shift register. That means the serial in, serial out register can be used as a counter, and the 2 types of counters that can be designed using shift register operating in, serial out mode are ring counter and twisted ring counter. We have seen that operation of ring and twisted ring counter and their advantages and disadvantages. I hope it is clear to everyone. That's all for this lecture. Thank you, one and all.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.